Hereditary, one of my favorite horror movies that I never want to rewatch. It is the sole reason for my very real fear of naked old people and Toni Collette. But at the time of its release, this movie was so fresh, so exciting, in a world of 50 Insidious and Conjuring movies, which don't even get me started on how these are basically the same movie. Like, I know they're not, but why did they have to cast the same man as the lead role in both of these ghost-related franchises? Like, come on. Nowadays, everybody calls the newest art house horror film the scariest thing they've ever seen. But when Hereditary came out, that was true. This movie did something that not a lot of movies really do for me, and that is instill me with a new lifelong fear. So many things are just hidden in frames of this movie that I didn't even catch until rewatching, which freaked me out even more to know that I could have possibly missed this.
What?
But most importantly, what Hereditary did with horror was genuinely unsettling. There had been films doing similar uncanny, slow burn, art house horror stuff like this, Under the Skin, The Witch, but none had really reached the widespread popularity and mass appeal that Hereditary did. And what happens when something does something unique and also does really well? It gets copied over and over. I mean, even the director, Ari Aster, who I love, by the way, knew he had to capitalize on the success of Hereditary, quickly releasing Midsummer, which is about as close to the vibe and unsettling nature to Hereditary as you can possibly get. I mean, he made Hereditary, so if anybody could do it, that's him. But Midsummer did really well too, and people loved this new style of horror. So naturally, production companies started going,
okay, so unresolved family drama, metaphors for some kind of trauma-induced mental illness. That's easy, we can do that.
And in came a huge influx of what I could only call Hereditary core. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not good at naming stuff. Slow burn, psychological, artsy horrors that build up to a, most of the time, pretty gory, plot twisty, metaphorical conclusion. They were everywhere. Believe me, as someone that loved this kind of stuff, I was watching them and enjoying it. And there were some genuinely good ones that came out of this whole surge, but gradually, as more and more in this style were made, they became very predictable and felt more and more surface level. The breaking point for me, where I realized I was done with this kind of movie, was with the film Men.
Apple from the garden?
Yeah, it was delicious.
No. Mustn't do that. Forbidden fruit.
Oh, God, sorry,
I'm joking.
I was genuinely excited for this movie. A mysterious new A24 horror written and directed by someone that has made a couple really great horror movies, and it sucked. And I think something like this was doomed for failure when it's a movie about a woman's experience with different kind of men. Meanwhile, the entire main team and writer of the movie is all men, and I've had very mixed feelings on Alex Garland's work since then. Even when I don't enjoy it, I can usually understand and respect where it's coming from and the message he's going for, but this one was just bad. Nearly every criticism that people make about this style of art house horror films is present in this film. It is painfully slow in the build-up, super ambiguous, and then it just kind of ends with a grotesque, gory creature that's really a metaphor for society. It was in watching and thoroughly not enjoying this film that I realized I was over this trope and ready for something new to take over. And I think this was the point for a lot of people. Stagnation. That is what happened here. You know it's bad when the film bros don't like it anymore. What was once a thoroughly unsettling and interesting way to present a horror movie about a deep, relatable topic is now overdone, pretentious schlock. And that brings us to where we are now and the kind of weird state of modern horror. The big people involved in this movement have since moved on to projects in completely different genres, with Ari Aster going from the unsettling vibe of Hereditary and Midsummer to surreal adventures and a modern western.
We need to free each other's hearts.
Alex Garland going from the groundbreaking horror of Annihilation and Ex Machina to a movie about journalism in a civil war, another war-related movie, and now apparently he's working on an Elden Ring movie. I mean, okay. But hey, at least we have Smile and Smile 2, which I honestly liked those movies, but I can't deny that they're a pretty big offender of falling into this trope pretty heavily. Though Smile 2 went in a lot cooler of a direction, and they clearly stopped taking the franchise super seriously, so I give it a pass. And then Longlegs, while I did really enjoy it, it still kind of felt like it was holding itself back a little by following this same kind of Hereditary, it's a demon trope. But that's not to say that there hasn't been some exciting new stuff in horror. Ironically, the most excited I've been about modern horror has been from YouTubers. Talk to Me was one of my favorite purely horror films back when it came out in 2022. And while I haven't seen Bring Her Back yet, I have heard, I think, good things about it. You know, actually, I've heard very mixed things, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. There's also the guy that made Barbarian, which I thought was a pretty cool change of pace, and his new film looks insane and horrifying, but that is the extent of the Hereditary Effect. And while this was kind of a critique, I do think that overall this was a good thing, especially for people like me that eat up this kind of stuff. That doesn't mean I can't poke a little fun at it and look forward to the future of horror now that these tropes are kind of dying. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Hereditary Effect, if I missed any movies that were big offenders of this, and if there's any other horror movies that you think are stepping even farther outside of these tropes. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like, and if you really liked the video, hit the subscribe button, please. Bye!